All right, welcome back to CrawlCast. This is CrawlCast East, and welcoming Hooker Motorsports, the guys from Hooker, Andrew Bailey, Brent Rockwood, and Mark Hendricks. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
What's up?
So, it's your first time at my place. Welcome.
Yep. Welcome to Tennessee.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for having us over.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for inviting me to Tennessee to live in your...
You love it already.
I do love it already.
Yep, it was for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot different. Well, I don't say it's a lot different in the sense that, you know, Colorado is just weird and shit, but
It's kind of liberal as hell.
very liberal.
Yeah.
But people here are very nice.
Yeah, that's the draw. That's, you know, it's the thing that, you know, I lived downtown for years, right? And so you go out and party. I was single, you know, you meet tourists all the time and stuff. They're like, everybody's so nice here. You're like, yeah, I know. They're like, that's unlike anywhere else in the country, maybe in the world. You know, it's very, very bizarre how nice people are here. Genuine, you know, want to help you. It's pretty cool. So
Yeah, I was called sir.
yeah,
I held the door open for someone. I was called sir. I was like, oh, fuck.
yeah.
I'm either that old now or
Nope.
this is just...
It's polite, Southern, just politeness, man.
That whole Southern hospitality.
Yeah. Yeah, I've caught on to that. Yeah, I've had people bring me food already. It's been great.
Oh, yeah.
You got food brought, huh?
Yeah,
Already?
a few times.
Nice.
Oh, a few times. You hear that,
Less
Mark?
than that.
Yeah.
So, really quick, go ahead and talk about Hooker really quick and what you guys are doing, where you're located.
You want to go for it, Andrew?
Yeah, I'm sure. We are an off-road shop. We do a lot of custom fabrication, suspensions, one-ton swaps, engine swaps, things like that. We're located in Ashland City, Tennessee. We have a couple shops. One's in Madison, one's in Ashland City. We do our larger projects in Ashland City. And we've been doing this pretty much a couple of years. I've been doing it 5 years. Britt joined in. We kind of all teamed up and did that. Mark teamed up with us, and we've had a really good run. It's been great.
Yeah, Mark's been with us 2 years.
Yeah. Two
And
solid years.
Do y'all
Jeez,
have
2 years
individual
already.
roles, or how's that work?
Yeah,
Kinda,
I had
yeah.
my own shop going on, and you know, when Andrew was doing his own thing, and we came together on a large JKU build that Andrew was working on in his shop, and he goes, I need a little help. You know, and that's what really started the whole shop really took off after that. And that Jeep ended up being just absolutely killer. I mean,
Yeah.
full crane, you know, 40 splines, the first chain of 76 in the front stretched out. I mean, it was just a top-notch Jeep, and that's where it all started. And that's where Mark came in a couple months before that. He came over to the shop to pick up some parts, and I was in the middle of murdering a paint job on my Jeep, and
God, that was bad.
he goes, "Hey, I got some paint," and he you know, he's 20-year body tech and painters, and he goes, you know, I need a cage bent, and you know, and then that started that. I knew Mark 6 years before that. We met wheeling in the country back when I was on a little TJ and that, and him and I had been friends throughout, but that's what really brought Mark into, you know, his own role. You know, Andrew's kind of the face and the voice of Hooker. You know, he's the one that deals with the customers and ordering parts and getting parts, setting up stuff. You know, he comes down to the shop and works. You know, I'm kind of the shop manager. We've got a couple other people that work with us. Mark's all the finished detail, any paint. You know, when we're pulling body panels, doing, you know, custom handles and all that. I mean, that's where he really shines, because, you know, 20 years pulling body clips. You know, we get in there with a crowbar, you break them all.
Yeah.
You know, and he's done half the time. The panel ain't bent. All the clips are still brand new. You're like, all right.
All the clips, you know, the plastic ones that break every single time. Oh, yeah, Mark's got them all out.
Yeah, the
Andrew
first
really likes the wheel speed sensor red locks and trying to, those, he loves those.
I don't like that. I'm like, hey, Mark. Hey, Mark, come here for a minute. What, Andrew? ABS sensor, man. I'm like, you know, I'm like back there, like, son of a bitch. You know,
my first vehicle, I'm installing my first stereo. I'm trying to do it myself. You know, I'm using electrical tape to just tie in, you know, just jerry rigging the shit out of it. All of a sudden, everything's rattling on the way, you know, just driving around. What the hell's all that rattling? Oh, that's right. All those clips I broke. Didn't replace one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we've all done that. Every one of us. Mark just got good at it over the years, you know. And I'm fortunate enough, I've bought all the right tools, and I think I bought Brent the clip tool as well, I believe. And so we give a half-assed attempt at it. Mark comes through, he's like click, 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 click.
Yeah,
It's all done.
I have one clip tool, and Mark comes with his big Matco toolbox with every clip tool, and I'm out there like beating on it. He goes, "Oh, you can do this tool." It's done. I just
like, damn, I didn't know there was a clip tool for that. I've got like 8 of them, and he's got like 71. You're like,
yeah. I've got a crowbar, a flat tip screwdriver, claw hammer, and one clip tool. So it's pretty primitive.
You work on Mercedes and Chryslers and stuff. You got to have all these different tools. So
Actually, Chrysler, yeah.
Yeah, I break the clips and self-tap them.
It's cheaper.
Yes.
It is sometimes.
Easily removable afterwards.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So speaking of wheeling in the country, you guys just came back from there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was the whole thing, or
That was a good
did
day.
it all start after?
No, it was. So wheeling in the country is our local park, just a small little park. We've all known Darren for. Mark has known Darren
20 years.
for 20 plus years. I've known Darren 6 since I've moved down here. He's got a great shop. It's where we do our shakedown runs. We know Andrew brought his down there. We needed to cut some stuff off, and Darren opens up the full shop down there, so we get to work on it and all that.
If we need anything, Andrew had a bump stop.
A bump stop was
Catching.
locating the coilover, yeah.
Yeah, so we take it up there to the shop. Darren gets his little reading glasses out. He clips them on his nose, and he gets in there with the torch, and he just... And we all sitting there watching him going.
Yeah, it looks like he took a plasma cutter and cut it off.
What's
He's got
the
his
guy
little
going?
jank
You
torch.
put the air gouger on there, and we can't even make it look that damn good.
Yep.
I know, right?
Darren's over here just like... And we're all just like... staring at him, just jaws hanging.
The nice thing about it, like when we did Mark's shakedown run, he broke a couple hydraulic fittings. Darren's got it all. We're down there for Halloween, and Shelby blew up
A
belt tensioner and belt, and AA Ronnie needed a bunch of sensors. He's got all the vehicles down there.
Yeah.
What's back there behind, this third row and all this? Because there's vehicles everywhere. Just take the parts whatever you want.
He got down to where it was just a few of us in the shop last night, and he come in and he's sitting there and he's like, "All right, who wants spaghetti? I'm going to the store." And we're all like, hands go up. He's like, "All right, I got 12. Anybody need anything else? Beer, since I'm going." He comes back in. He's got groceries, and he sits everything down. He goes back there in the kitchen. He cooks up dinner. We sit there and eat. I mean, that's just Darren.
That almost sounds like Gramps' garage a little bit.
Very much so. Very, very similar. Now, did Brent eat yesterday's?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you did eat.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That probably helped soak up some of it.
Okay, I was curious.
Yeah.
So,
A little bit of alcohol going on too.
Yeah, I went down there for a day trip.
day meaning 24 hours.
No, general. I was coming home that night because I
plan
wanted to
was-
cook. So I brought
was.
I brought a limited amount of supplies with me. I'm like, that's plenty. If I drink that, we'll plenty. 2 beer runs later after that, and 76 cans of beer were bought, and 20 came home, and
Granted,
Yeah.
he did have.
I did have help. I did have help.
He did have help. I don't know how much help it was, but
By the look of my floorboards, I had a lot of help. Shelby was putting them back.
well,
Good Lord.
nobody was getting back fast enough with his refill on his beer, so he's texting everybody going, "I need beer. I need beer. I need beer."
all of a
So
sudden.
everybody
So
brought
Darren comes
beer.
back in with Brooklyn came back in with 2 12-packs.
Yep.
And then here comes Aaron back in with a 12-pack for him after him and Tiffany made it run. So Brent's sitting there with 2 cases of beer ready to go.
I brought a 12-pack back and a couple stragglers.
And you had to drink them all. You just had to.
I was working on it. I was on a mission.
It was one of those that we were just riding, hanging out and talking and just...
It was just a perfect night. The rigs all worked. The trails were decent. Nothing was broke. So you were just, you're
Old friends showed up, and I mean, it was just a good day. That's all I can say.
So they went back like Twisted Tea, huh?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Brent drinks Twisted Tea, becomes the nicest person on this earth.
I've noticed that.
The half and
and the
half.
clothes come off
Oh, yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, the jorts come out on the
Yeah.
Twisted Tees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
That's
"Oh
true.
man, you want my Jeep? You can have it. Dude, I need $50 here. Dude. You're great, man. I appreciate you. Like, let me give you $1,000." You're like, "What?"
No. And that's when you know you're about to get screwed. When Andrew comes over with like 2x4s of twisted. Here, Brian, I got you something. You're like, oh, this is gonna suck. This is gonna get me later.
Wait till he drinks some. Man, I got something I want to do. Oh, dude, let's do it. I got you. You're like, fuck yeah.
This worked perfectly.
Know your friends, right? Know your friends.
Yeah. So I guess last night no one saw the Mike Tyson fight.
No.
Okay, so that was pretty funny.
I watched it this morning.
Yeah, I watched it this morning as well.
Did you see all of them or just?
No, I saw like maybe 6 or 8 minutes of it or something. You know, somebody's Facebook, live or whatever. Actually, Gerald. Yep, Gerald. That's it. Yep. Same thing. Yep. So and then I watched the after.
He got the whole thing though.
Did he?
Yeah, he had the whole thing. I sat there and watched all 25 minutes of the Hug Fest.
Okay. Yeah, Hug Fest 2020. Yeah, absolutely.
But the best one though was Nate Robinson getting knocked out.
Oh, I didn't see that.
He got knocked down twice before he got knocked out.
Wow.
And when he got knocked out, it was just like he was out.
Oh,
like not good night.
Like Smokey, like you just got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah. Eyes were closed, body was limp, just gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was well worth the $50.
I wanted to come over, but I had my sister-in-law's 40th birthday party last night, so we did a surprise party for her and had a little bonfire behind the house again. Mm-hmm. My cousin came over.
That fire was not little.
Dude. So Scott buys a video. He buys a rick of wood, right? He's like, this is, Courtney's husband. He's like, dude, you got firewood for a while. And I'm like, cool. So Jeff, Leslie's cousin, comes over. He's the master fire builder, like the most impressive fire builder you've ever met in your life.
Yes,
cool dude.
100%.
We've seen it before. So we're like,
no, I was just talking about the video that you posted. I was like,
Jeff, get in there. So he lays it all around in a circle. Literally, like that's like a third of the rick of wood, right? Like it's like double stacked. And then he builds this amazingness in the center. And he's like, we told him, like, hey, we're going to need to keep 30 people warm at 30 degrees, right? He's like, oh, I got it. So he's like factoring his head. He's looking at it. He walks over and he's like, you see him run back and forth to the wood pile. He's loading stuff up. She's burning, right? She's burning hot. And then as the night goes on, it gets colder, right? So it starts fanning out. Like, it's such a small fire. It's putting off so much heat. Like, you have to stand literally like 4 feet back from the fire pit or you're getting burned. Like, your face burns bad at like 30 degrees.
I saw how you like had the wood all laid around the edge and stuff.
So it burns outward slowly and up and it radiates. He has like the whole plan. This dude is brilliant, man. He's really smart. Wow.
It was wild looking at that.
He brought his lights too, and they're rad. Like, for our night runs, you guys are going to see those in the future.
Oh, okay.
So they're insane. The whole backyard was lit up. It was crazy. So I sent video to Marvin because beginning of the year before COVID, we had talked to them about actually, sponsoring us some lights for the year. And,
so do you mean 3 D-cell mag lights following us as we're trying to film, trying not to kill ourselves, and Brent falls in like a 17-foot deep hole and busts his shit up?
We are going to fix this problem. I promise. It's going to happen.
So I talked to Marvin about that, and he said, yes, we can talk about that project a little bit. So,
can we?
So I'll leave it up to you how far we get into. Because
great, get me in trouble. I see how it works.
Since you're associated with it, we'll just put that blame on you.
Do you want me to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so we did an event.
You got a buddy hanging out on top of your computer screen right there.
Oh, yeah, there's spiders all over the fucking place.
I don't want to hear about it. Come to the shop, hang out.
Yeah, they're like as big as your
they
foot.
carry that license plate around behind them, dragging. They push your foot back when you go to stomp on them. Yeah, they're gnarly.
All right, so go ahead and talk about this Flex Rocks and Rollovers project.
So obviously, you know that the 3 of us are associated with Flex Rocks and Rollovers, and hell, you're kind of welcoming yourself to the family a little bit too, doing some work with the project. So before I left for Baja, which is 2 weeks ago, I guess now.
Something like that.
We did a little event in East Tennessee. It's called Rain of Rocks. You guys will hear a little bit more about it in the near future, but it's a new project we're doing. There will be one next year as well, maybe 2. So that's about all I'm going to say about it. You guys will have to stay tuned and get excited about some coolness. Did you guys have fun? I'll say that, like, in limited capacity.
I had an absolute blast.
It was a good time.
Yeah. We expect it to be done by, 5 p.m., 6 p.m., and we rolled out of that bitch at, 12:30 or something.
Midnight, yeah.
It was midnight driving home.
Yeah, I don't think I got on the course or whatever you want to call it, trail to like 9:30.
I think it was 10.
Yeah, it was
Was
late.
it 10?
It
I
was
think so.
late.
I thought it was 9:30, and we were done by about 11.
You might be right. I was rounding up all night. Like,
I was
okay,
just tired.
what time is it?
Well, after you went down, you had to go rest your back too. That kind of threw a
that hurt.
kink and everything.
Yeah.
I fell in that hole on 10 on our last run. After I got up it, I went to go back to get Mark up it. In that big monster hole they were putting him in, I fell in straight in it. Busted my shit all up. Shins all bloody, socks are red.
I didn't know you fell. You didn't tell me till the next day.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know. Like,
Well, you were down on the bottom.
No, it was like one of those, those little cartoons with the missing manhole cover and the guy just disappears. That was me in the hole.
Well, that hole was impressive. It was really cool. Like, as a vehicle would go up it, Jacob was like standing there with a GoPro, and I'm like, dude, just duck when somebody comes in. They can't fall in it.
Yeah, you look like one of those
bobble, the things that
those
you
games.
bob,
The gopher,
Yeah.
the whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole. There you
Yep,
go.
yep. He was dipped down, man. I bet that footage is going to be incredible. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited. I got to see a little bit when we were in California. Marvin showed me some stuff, and the footage is really good. So
Nice.
it's going to turn out great. So you guys be excited about Rain of Rocks. It will be here, probably a 3-part series, if I was guessing, maybe 4. Later in December, first of the year. So that's all I'll say about that.
I was really cool. I was excited, I should say,
Yeah.
to be invited to go help film for that because I was really intrigued by the format.
Yep.
And I thought it was a great idea. And I
Yep.
think the other people are going to like it too.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's different. It's
Oh yeah.
without giving too much away. It's hard to really talk about.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I want to keep it special, though.
But
I mean,
there's not anything out there like it. It is
No,
something
there isn't.
completely different. And well, a lot of the people were there are Flex Rocks and Rollover, drivers. But we had some other ones. People are wanting to see other rigs besides Jeeps and that stuff like that. But the camaraderie of,
Putting us all together in the
putting
same
us
place.
together. You're competing. But you're helping everybody,
Yeah.
I was spotting for somebody, and
nobody's freaking out about winning, right? Like,
No.
like everybody's
No,
like, hey,
nobody-
we're here to have
nobody
fun.
cared.
Correct. We're here to have a good time,
Yeah.
and let's help each other. Let's.
I mean, you wanted to win. I mean, that was the thing. You wanted to place.
Oh, yeah.
But you're spotting your competitor. You're putting him on the best possible line. You're pulling
For him,
his winch. Doing. You and him are talking. It over. What the game plan is. All right, let's bypass this and do this. And like I said, I don't want to give too much away, but just the camaraderie of the group. You're competitors, but it's just like a brotherhood out there. And it was
everything clicked really well with the whole crew.
I agree 100%. I think everybody will be surprised once they see the winner too, which is kind of cool. That was really surprising. I'm like tallying up everything. I'm like, no way. I'm like, it's not possible. I'm like going back through again. I'm like, not possible. I look at third time. I'm like, I've added this shit up 3 times through all these pages, and I'm like, there's no way he won. And so it'll be surprising everybody to see the winner at the end. But the contestant that won, he gave it a really good go, and he's a good dude, and he
Exactly.
really did not want to win. He really he wanted somebody else to win, but
I
he
figured
earned it.
the person I spotted, I thought we had it. I didn't think there was no way.
It was fast too. You guys had a fast time, so the closest thing I can associate this with is kind of some old school rock crawling competitions and things of that nature. So it has that flair, that feeling, and we're all a little older, and we all grew up with that, and that was kind of a lot of us, that was what was important to us, and we liked, and then like different things come along. Like you got rock bouncing is popular, it's fast, and that whole sport has changed so much in the last 2 years, in my opinion. And some people say for the better, some people say no, not for the better, and I don't like the new format, but it's just a personal thing. It's not and what, 2 weeks ago they had a monster hill they climbed, so I was like, hell yeah. Me and Marvin are watching it in San Diego. We're like, shit, yeah, it's rad. So
But the thing about the rock bouncing down here, which is huge, not take away from the guys.
yeah,
But you've got a couple of the drivers, they have just the sponsor list is just massive, $80,000 motors. They're $500,000 rigs out there running. So, for somebody, a Joe Smo, somebody, with, a $40,000 rig, you can't go out there and even think about being
you're not
competitive
competing.
at all.
You don't
at
have
all.
a chance.
You're just out there just beating the tar out of you for the love of the sport.
Yeah.
it's like Ultra 4, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
These days,
but
especially.
this twist they got going on. I mean, it's you versus the course. You know, you don't have to have that big monster motor.
Yep.
I mean, you're going to be surprised what took third place. I mean, just a simple, you know, just a very well built rig. But you know, nothing was high dollar. You know, everyone was out there was running around and you know stuff that we all do. You know, $20,000 rigs or less.
Well, we pride ourselves. Flex trucks and rollovers in general. I mean, Marvin's rigs are really nice, but like, and you know, we've got nice rigs, but we're kind of the everyman, right? Like, and that, you know, that spirit, like, Brent's got one of the nicer rigs out there, and it's like, he doesn't have a lot of money in it because he was smart, did some trading, he's talented, was able to do some labor. One of the guys at our shop helped him a lot, Lance, and, you know, so we have that, right? Like, you know, we all just have kind of, you know, jank ass rigs, you know. I mean, they work and they're rigs. We like them. They're our rigs. They're our used rigs, but we don't have $100,000 rigs.
Probably our wheels and tires are our most expensive things.
Yeah, no joke.
I mean, honestly,
yeah, absolutely. And you know, granted, we're out there doing it. We're traveling the country. We're doing it. We're hitting the hardest trails in the country, especially in the Southeast. Spotlighting the Southeast. That's been a huge goal of Marvin and I, is to, you know, show off the Southeast, because we're from here, we live here, we're proud of this. I mean, we wheel other places, we're like, what the hell is this, you know? Like
the wheeling in the Southeast, I mean, you're starting to witness that moving here. It's insane. It is probably some of the hardest wheeling.
You've been all over now, Brent. I mean, you know, we've been real fortunate. I mean, you've been in Colorado, you've been in Utah, you've seen some things, and you know, I mean, I don't want to take away from places like Arizona, and you know, I mean, like Rugged Mountain Ranch where we went. I mean, there are some places that are incredible in this country. Don't get me wrong. I've been in Johnson Valley. I've wheeled there. I mean, but I'll tell you, there are a lot of trails here that will put you on your ass.
So there's one thing that I've learned out here. There's different variations of go when someone's spotting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, you know what? Before I even get into that, if you saw season 1 or season 2, episode 1, you get roasted by these guys.
Oh, yeah.
About your spotting.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Andrew is, you know, Andrew's like my brother. You know, him and I talk about everything. I mean, we're just stupid close friends.
We're
you know,
family.
So I bust his balls a lot, and it's nothing against him, but he will put you on the hardest line that he can imagine. And you know, and 9 times out of 10, you make it up that line. But you know, if there's an easier line this way, and you know, and you kind of want to go that way because you've done
he's not going to let you do it.
Beat the diff off the rock, you know, 18 times. You're like, no, and he'll end up getting you up it. You know, his spotting.
If I see you on it, if I see that, if I know your rig's capability and I know you can do it, I always want you to grow. I mean, you know, they laugh about it and give me shit all the time, but I know the feeling of accomplishment, and it's not taking the easiest line. It's never taking the easiest line. And then the day, it's like he and I have done some incredible lines together. I mean, look at the thing I took everybody up at Rugged Mountain.
That's what I was getting ready to say. You're spotting at Rugged Mountain. I mean, you go up and you're like, there's no way that's the line. I mean, you're hanging this way. You know, your rocker's ripped off, waving in the air. You're just like, yep, just keep on going with it. Marvin, Brock, your rocker, we're good. It is what it is. It's ripped off.
You know, Roland said that's the line, Andrew. He said, you know, the higher you get that tire on that line, that's the line. And I look at it and I'm like, man, it don't make sense, but it is the line. And if you've watched that Hell and Back,
it feels so bad. It's so bad feeling on it. You're up and you're like, there's no way, because you're still climbing and you're laid over. You're like, there's no way that is the line. And yeah, it just feels like shit. But that's the line.
Yeah, Marvin and I did a similar climb in Moab for EJS 2 years ago now, and not, you know, there wasn't an EJS this year, but it was 2 years ago, and it was crazy. Like, it was so technical. It was like the slowest speed, the most minute move to climb this obstacle, and all these turns and, you know, moves. And I don't remember what the obstacle was called.
Was it an area BFE?
No, it wasn't actually. It was damn it. I can't remember the name of the trail, but it's like a super bonus line like nobody climbs, right? Like very few people climb that, and we went up it. It was wild, man.
Widowmaker?
Maybe.
You sure you're not talking about Trollicema?
No, this wasn't Trollicema.
Okay.
No, this was EJS. We went on a ride with Greg Henderson and some other folks.
Oh, say no more.
Oh,
yeah.
I know where you are. I remember now.
And but it was a wild ride, man. We had a good time, and it was the same thing because, you know, Marvin was like the first person besides Roland to climb it, which that's Roland's home park. He developed those trails, right? And I'm like, look at me, bro. And I was like, just remember Moab. And he was like, okay. And I said, let's do this. And we did. And everybody, man, I mean, literally it was so cool because the way that inside of your tire hung the point of this rock and it pulled you right over. And, you know, then there was like this little spot, you were like really slow speed and it was like, give her the fucking beans, man, go. And, you know, and everybody just did it, man. They all made it. We had 2 people that didn't make it. Holly had a tough break and, you know, it's just, she has a really great rig. And, you know, sometimes she needs a little more woo-pow, and she just doesn't have it with a 3.6. And bottom line, it is what it is, you know. And
that rig gets wheeled a lot. I mean, she broke a bunch of U-joints and axle shafts, but she's wheeling some of the hardest stuff all the time.
Legitimately.
I mean, you know, rigs take a beating.
Yep. Yeah. No, absolutely. You know, it's like we talk about rear axle shafts, right? Nobody breaks 14-bolt axle shafts, and then you see somebody break like 4.
Scott Grubb has 3 sets of Yukons, so you can just keep them in the warranty.
They literally live in warranty land. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But you know, you know, they twist and you know, oh man, they're good. You don't pull your fucking axle shafts apart in between rides. Like, let me check my axle shafts, make sure, you know,
right.
I don't have any weaknesses in there or anything. And fuck no.
No, generally once a year. Yeah. I mean, you know, I tear my rig down once a year and go through, you know, check everything, go through it all.
You maintenance more than anybody.
Oh yeah,
by far. Yeah,
because all you guys come and hey, you got your parts, or hey, you got these bearings, or and all my used stuff that I took out from the season before. 2 years later, still riding, and
Mark looking the other way.
You ain't no better, Andrew. You ain't no better.
No, Gumby had quite a few used parts on it, man.
So we're building marks for Crawl America. When you guys went to Moab, and we completely redid the death machine and put all new axles and redid all the suspension, so it was less deathly. And we're building a rear axle for it, and he bought the wrong one, and I'm like, hey, I got this one, and then the bearing fell apart in it, and the budget's gone, the budget's tapped out, and we're digging through the scrap pile, pulling out bearings out of something I cut for...
He looks at me and he goes, hey, that cabin chassis hub's sitting out there. I said, the one that we cut down so you could have your axle made? He goes, yeah, it's out there. I was like, are the bearings in it? He goes, yeah. I was like, huh, all right. I'll go out there. I'll come waddling back in the shop carrying this big old drum and hub and knock everything apart.
Literally a piece of an axle that's been we just cut it off because we didn't need the tube.
It was it was the end of the tube.
Yeah, because I built a custom 40 spline, so all I needed was a cabin chassis. They give them away because nobody wants them. They're so narrow. So I just had to cut the chunk out of it. So we literally had the tubes and the brakes and all that were just laying out there in the scrap pile.
Dragging it back in the shop, and I busted all down. I very gently worked the race out of that one and get the bearing, and then very gently put it into mine, and it's still there, rolling along.
It's crazy.
But I mean, that's the camaraderie, you know. I mean, I carry a ton of spare parts at the shop, in the trailer, on the trails. You know, I've got the magic trailer.
Trailer, that's right.
But there's literally everything in it. I mean, just your oddball stuff. You know, like when we were at Windrock, you guys did Kingdom Crawl. You know, and he sheared off a bunch of ARP studs in a high steer. Who carries spare ARP high steer?
This one.
Studs. You know,
this guy.
You know, I just carry all that stuff. But you know, it's one of those things. You know, it's not about money or anything like that. You know, just hey, you need it, come get it. You know, it's just the brotherhood of it.
So going back to what I was saying earlier, before we got into your spotting, I learned there's 3 variations of go. Of go out here. There's just go, and then there's go, and then there's go. Or in other words, give it the beans.
Correct. There's 3 levels of momentum.
Yeah.
That's the word. The key word is momentum. And so, yes, you're right.
Yeah, you got roll. Roll into it,
drive through it,
drive through it,
dump that bitch down and go. Break everything.
And you know, to change it up a little bit, Matt Loxley, you know, he had Dumpy, and we were out there in EJS 3 years ago when he wrecked it. We were running with some of the Red Dot guys.
Matt Loxley, what's going on, bro?
Oh, yes, Jeff, we love you right now. Jeff Lyon.
So we're at the end of Pritchett, and we're running with some of the Red Dot engineering guys, and we're doing rock pile.
Oh yeah.
And he rolled up it, and I don't remember what the guy's even name. He was running that Red Dot buggy. He goes, "That's the line. Hit it." And Matt hit it. Matt Southern hit it so hard, you know, it bounced. He came into the rock face and it bounced off and flipped over upside down. And I mean, we all know Dumpy's no longer here, but that's the terminology, you know. whole lot different. Yep, that's the line. Hit it. So Matt hit it. You know, he dumped the 4.0 down to the floor, and that was not the thing to do.
I've never seen a 14 bolt bent that bad.
No, he yard sold a rig, and I mean completely. Me and Brent have never seen someone like at that moment. He destroyed so much of the rig. I'd never seen anybody. There wasn't anything usable really on it anymore. I mean, very little. When you break a transfer case, a transmission, an engine, a rear axle, links, a cage. I mean, frame. Yeah, like I've never seen anything like that before. I mean, that was the worst, just decimation of a rig I'd ever seen.
I think Matt's three words are go, give it the beans, and you gotta want it.
Yep.
Yeah. If Matt's spotting you, that's...
I've heard that.
See, Matt's a horrible spotter, though, because if you're in a mess-up situation, you can see it in his eyes. And you're like, oh, shit, this goes suck. Because he's got, there's the big pie plates. You're like, oh, yep.
That's my hog pride moment, right? The only time I've ever dumped a rig, he's like, dude, just get in it. Just get in it. I'm like, bah, 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 bah. Boom. He's like, hell fucking yeah. And I'm like, I'm laying on my side, Brent standing at my door like, yeah, you hit it all right. Like, fucking Matt, man.
That's, Matt was spotting. We were in area BFE.
Yep.
We're doing Gatekeeper for Hell's Revenge. And I got the leg just laid over running this ridge. And you can just see the fear in his eyes. I'm like, yeah, this is
Matt
not...
Loxley, what's going on, bro? They fucking suck.
Fat piece of shit. Jeff sent me that before he sent it to anybody. He's like, what do you think about this? And I was like, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, bro. I can't even imagine you did that. That's amazing.
So I actually had it. Rob was playing that part when we were in South Dakota, and I had filmed him playing that, and just to get Matt's reaction. And it's a good reaction, but I don't know if anyone knows who that guy is, and so I thought it was irrelevant, so I cut it from Kingdom Crawl.
Okay.
But from what I understand now,
he's super famous.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That cat's like super insta famous. I mean, big time. Yeah.
It's just so funny. Like, I mean, Matt hates it so much, he's starting to like it just so people will stop playing it.
Oh yeah, everybody's
100%.
playing it. I mean, I'm sending it to people. Like, he's got a whole little crew he rides with, so I just some of those people I don't even talk to. I was like, send them Facebook messages because I'm like, oh, they got to see this because they talk every day. I'm like, that's like, it'd be like if it was me and Brent, I'd be like, yeah, I got to send this to Brent, right? Like, for sure. So it was good.
So speaking of Matt really quick, and HP Tuners, our sponsors, I got to give a shout out to everyone real quick. Since you're here, talk about HP Tuners really quick.
HP Tuners is tuning software, tuning devices. So basically, we can bring your vehicle up to calibration. We help with V8 swaps, things of that nature. We have a couple softwares. You have a software called VCM Editor, VCM Scanner. Then we have our hardware device, which is the MPVI2. A lot of shops in the Jeep world use it. Outlaw, which is another sponsor. Gerald got on. Doug's like, "What is this? Witchcraftery?" I was like, "Dude, you didn't give me the call. Gerald did." And so, but you can change your gear ratio, your tire size, very relatively easily. It doesn't marry a device to a vehicle, which is nice, unlike some of our competitors' devices. Want to have your vehicle tuned, pick up a little horsepower, a little bit more reliability. We can do that. I mean, we tuned Brent's truck with it. I mean, we've used it for everything. I mean, it's it's huge in the LS swap world, diesel world, Jeep world.
Even just figuring out what problems you have, just using the scanner. Like when we did Marvin's, we knew exactly what was wrong with the transmission. It's detailed. It's not like going to Pet Boys and they put their $4 scanner in it and you get this generic. It breaks it down. I mean, big time.
Yep.
To the point where you can actually see everything running, everything working on the computer while it's running the codes and checking everything. It's nice for sure.
So it's a good company. I'm proud to work for them. They have been really, really good to me. They've been good to all of us, actually. I mean, really, really good to us. And it's a great product. So if you don't have one, I would highly suggest you get one. So.
Well, thank you guys for believing in us and sponsoring us and Kingdom Crawl. That's huge. Absolutely. And I know so this is funny, right? So I got to comment on this, right? My Jeep dies at the end of
season 2, episode 1, on the middle of this obstacle. My Jeep is definitely not tuned with HP tuners. So it has a Phytech fuel injection system on it. So it's an old small block Chevrolet. So a lot of people always ask that question.
Come on now. It's not just a small block Chevy, Andrew.
It's a 383.
There we go. All right.
He's got the stroker.
Thank you.
just 305 in there, no power.
305 with 350 heads. Got the chains down to the frame to hold it in place. Oh boy, we're going dirt track racing.
And that's the weirdest motor too. That thing will run so good.
Yep.
And then it just decides it's not going to run.
Yep.
We ain't going to idle. We're not going to do anything.
Yep. And after I went to Rugged Mountain and I played with it for a while, actually. It has a little, I don't know, screen, I guess.
Yeah.
You can change the settings on.
Because they don't have an OBD 2-port or anything like that. So all the tuning, nobody hardly tunes that FI, and you get this little touchpad to, kind of, it's supposed to be like your self-learning type stuff. And
yeah, I've never had good luck. Like, we've done some of the Holly kits on some CJs and stuff at the shop and not had a lot of great luck with them. I don't like the way they run.
Rob's
self-learning.
perfect for Kingdom Crawl Season 1. How well his ran in Colorado.
Yeah,
With
that was a Holly.
the Snolly, the sniper on it.
Yep.
I talked to a buddy though, and he said they do not like elevation changes at all.
No, because
And he had a lot of rapid elevation changes in that trip.
Yeah.
So if you tune it for Tennessee and then you go north or go west, the barometric pressures and everything else just totally.
Yeah, Holly will tell you pretty much it does not work over 10,000 feet. And there we are in Colorado, 14,000. Wheeler Lake, and he's neutral bombing it. To get it to 2,000 RPMs and neutral bombing, trying to get it up on the trailer and that.
That's crazy. So anyway, so I played with it a little bit at Rugged Mountain. It's a lot better, but it's still, I don't know. It's an LS swap is in the future of the Jeep, so for sure.
So back to our sponsors, we're talking about Matt Loxley, High Beam Off Road.
Yeah.
He's got a big Black Friday sale right now. So anyone interested in lights, go check out his website, buy some stuff. Coupon code. He gave us a coupon code, which is really cool. It's CrawlCast 15. CrawlCast 15 is the coupon code for
Nice.
High Beam. Also, shout out to Smoking Dave's Barbecue. If you guys ever come back to Colorado, maybe I'll go with you.
I was just there like 2 days ago.
Oh, that's right. Maybe I'll go with you. We'll go get some barbecue.
I love it. Is it good?
It's so good. It's my favorite barbecue that's in Colorado.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Didn't Dave have food brought in when we were out there for the last dinner that night?
Yeah, he did.
It was good.
So you've had it? Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
It was good.
And he's a wheeler too. He's got a red dot buggy.
And he's got his Jeep.
Shit, really?
Yeah.
He's got a red dot and a Jeep.
Yeah. And, I think he took out that 6.4 and put an LS.
Oh, did he?
Or LT,
did he?
actually.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
So he finally gave up on the Hemi and
I think so.
went to an LS platform.
Yeah.
I
Smart
don't
choice.
blame him. Yeah, exactly.
That thing was giving him so much trouble out there. Between him and Marbella, when we were out
Oh,
there,
my God.
everybody, it was just a
It was frustrating.
Yeah.
Hemi is just, it's not an ideal swap for a Jeep. It's so expensive, and man, they have oiling issues, and every time I'll say this, somebody will say I'm wrong, right? Like, I mean, it's just a given, but I'm just not a huge fan of the Hemi swaps, so it's just never been a thing for me.
Also, really quick, Outlaw Off Road, you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Huntsville and Greensboro, Asheville now. They just opened up Asheville.
Yeah.
Also, rock crawler suspension. You just upgraded a little bit to some rock crawler parts, right?
Yeah. All the
Funny how that happened, right, Brett?
Yeah. So, I've got a custom double triangulated 4-link in the back, and it doesn't have a ton of flex. And, we've been driving around, and it's just banging and clanging, and, just blowing joints out. And, Adam from Rock Crawler sent me a message. He goes, I got you taken care of. And they sent some of their brand new Rock Crawler Pro joints out. And so that's all in the rear end of it now, keeping it together.
Yeah,
So-
same thing we put in Mark's rig. We spent a little bit extra money there when we were building Mark's, and everybody runs Heims. I was like, hey, run these joints, though a little bit more road mannered and just a little bit better overall design. And I said,
And they've never given me an issue.
No,
they're rebuildable.
We put a ton of rock crawler stuff on every day, so it's like there's a few things, with rock crawler, right? Like you have to service them properly. It's like, you got some guy like, oh man, put me a big old red tacky in there, should be real good. It's like, dude, you just destroyed that joint, right? Like they have a special grease and, pay attention to what you got. And, we all know how to maintain this stuff. So hell yeah, that's the right way to go.
You have to have the rock crawler grease.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
Just period.
And you have to use it.
Yes, there's 2 tubes in the car right now that are going to go to Mark to go to Davin this week. Like it's like, man, that's what we do.
Yeah.
So you were talking earlier about the Hemis.
Yeah.
And Jeep just announced that they're going to be putting a 392 in the Wrangler.
Yep.
Do you see this as a disaster, or do you see this as something that's going to be niche for just streetable rigs?
A JKU needed to have a Hemi in it to begin with. A JKU, especially once you built them a little bit, a 3.6. I mean, to drive them on the road,
they
just don't.
With 1 tons, larger tires, it's a dog.
Yeah, because I'm going to be driving my rig back from Greensboro back to Murfreesboro. And I know it's going to struggle.
The mountains are going to be.
You're just going to go get it and drive it home?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Did you hear that? That's the plan.
Yeah.
So
I got a novel idea. We've got a plethora of trucks.
trailers.
I mean, how many? Wait, you have a truck. You have a truck. I have a truck.
We all have nice PJ trailers too.
PJ trailers too.
Yeah.
I mean,
just
we like the road trip.
Yeah, we do road trip probably. Stop by and see Chase in Knoxville.
Oh yeah, okay.
I love Chase.
I love Chase. Yeah, that's my new friend. Chase is awesome.
He is awesome. So back to your question. So it's hard to say, right? You put a 392 in there. It has a little bit more beefed up version of the new generation Dana axles, which actually, a lot of people give those axles shit, and they're not bad, actually. I mean, you look at the bearings for them and stuff, you start really tearing that axle apart, you look at the ring and pinion, it's not bad. The size of the axle shafts are much larger.
Yeah.
If you're out doing burnouts, yeah, it's going to fucking destroy it. Absolutely. You put, probably larger than a 37-inch tire on it. Yeah, you're going to destroy it. Yes. Yeah. I mean, this is common sense stuff, folks, right? I really wish at the same time with that option package, they would have just they have crate axles from Mopar you can buy, right? Like Dana has a partnership with them.
Yep.
So it would have made sense. It was like, even though it was like a $15,000 option, to be sensible, like to use your fucking head and to put those axles in.
To upgrade axles that can handle.
Yep.
Yeah, it came with the package. It came with Dana 60s.
Yeah. Or even
there was
an option, right?
As soon as that decision was made and that announcement was made that they were going to offer the Hemi, a meme popped up, and it's the cartoon where they're all sitting in the office, and it was like, what's some great ideas that we can do with these Jeeps? And they're going around the room, and the guy's over there propped up chewing his bubble gum, and he blows bubble, and he says, why don't we build a drivetrain that can handle a V8? And you see the boss's face, and it's blood red, and the next scene is him going out the window, Yeah. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, that's the truth right there. That's 100% correct.
Or even something like, Terraflex has come out with something a while back, and I don't see it run a lot, but some people do run it. And it's funny, I've had 2 people ask me in like the last three or 4 weeks about this specific thing, but Terraflex offers an 8-lug kit. It actually is pretty beefy. It puts big outers on it and stuff, and so it is helpful. It's for the JK, it's not for the JL, but even something like that would have even made a little more sense to me. But, teach his own. I know they've been testing this for a long time. I mean, Scott Bloom and I have talked about it. I know that this has been an in plain sight tested vehicle for quite some time, but I also believe that this is a response to the Bronco. They say, oh no, there's no way possible. Yeah. Dude, that fucking Bronco is nice. And it's the first time that a vehicle has been released that I wasn't like, oh man, really? Did they really? I can't really say anything bad about it. Even the front end's independent, right? But still got the same center chunk as a Rubicon in the front. People don't realize that. It's the same axle. It's just an independent version. Same center chunk.
I think they missed the mark with the Bronco a little bit. I think
you feel that way?
I think they modernized it too much. I think they could have really hurt Jeep a lot if they'd, it'd have been a solid axle front and back. And made it a little bit more off-road beefier. I think it really would have cut into Jeeps quite a bit.
But I think the Bronco is more for just the weekend warrior.
The lifestyle person.
Yeah, it's not going to be for.
It's going to be like it's going to be like the FJ Lens Cruisers. I mean,
Yeah,
you're going to put your
exactly,
rooftop tent and your methods on it. And you're going to you're just going to drive it around it and go wheel it. But I think if they would have went a little bit more rugged with it, I really think they could have got big into the off road.
I think if they would have left the solid axle up front and not done a 4-door version. I think the 4-door version is...
The 4-door version sells, though.
Yeah,
and
that's
Jeep proved that.
That's everybody,
yeah,
though.
The JKU was like, that was the first time people realized, like, hey, I have kids, or, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is, you know, we talk about, you know, we laugh about JKs, we make fun of JKs sometimes, but it's probably one of the best platforms to build off of. The frames are incredibly solid. They're super strong. It's got plenty of room. It's not too wide. You know,
unless you want it to be.
Yeah,
that's correct. I mean, you pull the entire drivetrain out of the damn thing. I mean, it's actually a good body to build off of. I mean, you know, it's like kind of like a YJ. Like a lot of people give YJ shit. It's like they have one of the best frames to build off of in the older generation.
When they're done right, are just killer.
Yeah, they have really good solid frames. You know, the TJ had a lot of rust issues. You know, because their plating system that they did, you know, they did away with that in '96 when they started building the TJ, and so that's why you see not so many rusted YJ frames on the market. You see a lot of really good YJs still together. All the TJs are garbage. I mean, you know,
but it's where they had the big holes and everything dropped down off that big dog bone, sits right there in that bottom part, and you know, and it just rots them out.
I mean, you still have yet to mention the best platform, Andrew. It's an LJ. I mean, come on.
LJ was I mean, honestly, it was a well-designed Jeep.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I feel like they've missed the mark as well by not emulating a more modern version of that type of package.
I kind of wondered that. And even the last podcast we did, I asked Diesel just kind of jokingly, but kind of chew on it a second. Everyone's stretching a 2-door.
Yep.
Why not shrink a 4-door?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then we started getting into the rear door, getting into the wheel well, and then there's a few other things going on there. But
Jay Payson is actually one who's asked us to do something like that for him. I mean, because he's so tall. I mean, if you've ever met Jay, he's a giant man. He's, you know, you look up, they're like, oh my God, this guy's huge. But you know, he rocks a 2-door, and you know, its cage is stretched a little bit. And his seat's set back quite a bit. Like, I drive that thing like a child. I was driving in Johnson Valley. I went into town in Lucerne one day, and I come all the way back out to Johnson Valley. I'm like driving like this. My head's over the steering wheel. I'm 6'3", man. You know, it's like, good Lord, this man is gigantic. You know, but he wants us to cut a 4-door down and shrink it down where he can, you know, put a longer door in it maybe. And you know, I mean, it would be a massive undertaking, but it's one of his dreams, you know, to actually have that. He loves that platform.
You know what I just heard through all that? Hey, Body Tech, you got a whole lot of work you're going to have to do.
But yeah, I mean, we've stretched a ton of 2-doors. I mean, you know that's been one of our things that we're really, really good at, because the JK is a great platform to build off of. A stretched 2-door is a really ideal platform to build off of. They're mega capable, and we've done them a multitude of ways, you know, with springs in the rear, you know, when people would normally want to go coilovers, or coilovers in the front, springs in the rear, coilovers in the rear, springs in the front, you know, stretched a little bit in the front, not stretched in the front, stretched a ton in the rear. We've done it all. We've done a really good job with that.
That one black one, he wanted the coilovers in the rear.
The coilovers were in the rear when it came in.
And when it came in, and we talked him into flipping it around, putting the coilovers up front, and going back to a coil in the rear with a 3-link stretch. And
he absolutely loves it.
Yeah, that Jeep does really, really well.
Works.
Yeah. Brett Yeager's Jeep. Yeah, but the inbound coilovers in the rear just don't work, in my opinion, either. I mean, it's not like I'm trying to be an asshole, but it's like, hey, in the way we've wheeled here, it doesn't work very well, and you can't outbound those because you're running on, you know, stock Dana 44 rear end. It's not wide enough to outbound them. It doesn't really work.
You know, even when we ran into Keys with those custom carbon VXRs, and it, you know, a 70-inch wheel mounting surface.
It was tight.
And you know, we had to end up putting 1/2-inch spacers on them just to be able to clear the big rock crawler coilovers. You know, the rock crawlers will be, you know, they're that 2.6. But yeah, it just doesn't work. And that's, you know, Brett Yeager, he had them, you know, laid over, and they're kind of like some like the Rebel kits and that, you know, the ridiculously angle, and he ended up breaking it, broke the coil over, and, you know, and just grenaded it, you know. And we've got a lot of really good luck. You know, we sell a lot of that based off Call Girl. And that, you know, that one's running 14-inch coilovers in the front, stock TJ coils in the back, and it'll flex off. We got a 48-inch wall, and it'll run the diff into it and still be touching the ground. it just works. Everyone sees coilover and be like, oh my God, that's the best thing. But, you don't have to. Coil springs are just as capable. Matt's Jeep Winona, Matt Loxley, that brown Jeep. Super capable, 3.5-inch rock crawler. Custom suspension we did with rock crawler parts. We got a little magic we do with it, but just super capable.
It worked great. He said it rode well, drove wonderful pulling the trailer. When he was going to, I think as soon as we got there, he went to Bantam.
No, it was Myrtle Beach.
It was Myrtle Beach
first, then Bantam.
Yes,
Yeah.
then
He
Bantam.
road tripped the shit out of that.
Yeah,
Jeep.
But he picked it up out of the shop on a Tuesday and left Wednesday to go to Myrtle Beach pulling in a closed trailer. Checking bolts on the way, doing his 500-mile bolt check on the way out there.
He stopped in Knoxville and had to check some bolts or something. But we all asked him, we were like, so how's it driving and how's it pulling the trailer? And he's like, they just kept great.
Yep.
I mean, he was
better fuel mileage, rides better, drives better than it did stock.
Yeah.
And was on 39-inch
KM3s.
KM3s.
Yeah. Good old BFGs.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about how mine will do with, the triple bypass and the coilover all the way around. Because originally, when I had that set up in mind, I wasn't living here.
Right. No, it'll do very well. You're going to be very pleased with that setup.
Originally, it was just so I can get off the trail a lot faster because
We're all too poor to afford triple bypasses. But no, I mean, you're going to be very excited about that. Not knocking coilovers, they're great. You don't have to have them for slow speed rock crawling.
Right,
It's
right.
not a necessity. But if you're blasting through the trail and stuff, you can even ask Brent. You're a hell of a lot better shape with a coilover and a bypass than you are just a spring.
and that's one reason why I wanted to do that is because, for example, coming off Holy Cross,
Oh, yeah.
it's a long ass road
Yep.
off of that trail.
Yep.
And I did it once with just that setup in the front, bombed off of it, and it felt great, but the ass end was trying to catch up to the front.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's do the rear also.
Yeah, you have a nice tune setup. You're going to be very pleased with it. Jeremy is smart. Like, he is infinitely smart. That dude when we have great conversations, he is like, what do you think of this? I'm like, it's fucking brilliant, Like, I mean, what else am I supposed to say? Like, yeah, you hit the mark, and he's always innovating and improving. I mean, the X2 stuff is out of this world. We just did a jail for a guy, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's the nicest Jeep I've ever driven in my life, ever. I mean, like, it handles, and so leaving our larger shop's down at Brent's house, and leaving his house is a very curvy road. I mean, when I say very curvy, it's ridiculously like scary curvy road, like huge drop-offs on the side. That's always that's my beta test, right? Like,
Yeah.
if
Enter Mario Andretti.
yeah. I mean, I'm going to hit it because that's the point. I mean, I know the road. I've driven it 400 million times. If it can drive good on that road and be responsive, you're good to go. You have a nice driving
If it
vehicle.
passes the Andrew Bailey driving test, we know we've done our job.
Yeah. Andrew come back. He goes, the traction control came on a little bit. I'm like, how fast were you in that curve? He goes, I'm about 80. I'm like, well, I wonder why. And a normal person does about 45 on it.
Exactly.
But I mean, that's it's our job to produce something that drives, rides, and handles well. I mean, if there's a problem, like we all are kind of like we're all kind of family, right? Like pull back in, and if Mark's there, I'm like, hey, this isn't right. Or if I tell something to Brent, I'm like, even if it's I describe something, he's like, what do you think? And I'm like, well, I think it's this. And he's like, okay, we checked that. No, it's not that. And I said, what do you think? He's like, I think it's this. And sure enough, we'll adjust something. It'll be, vice versa. Either my idea or his idea or even Mark's idea will be, spot on. And we'll adjust something. I'll go back out. I'll run it. I'll run it hard again. I'll bring it back. Hey, we need a little bit more here. Oh, yeah, makes sense. Even if it's adjusting the, track bar or something or anything, just the smallest
Just
thing.
a little bit of a turn of something can...
It completely changed the way
Exactly.
a computer controlled vehicle with traction control
Oh,
handles.
especially with JK with the stability with the steering.
yeah.
That steering. I mean, you think you're like, oh yeah, that's pretty straight. It's off like a degree. And every time you throw it in the corner, your brakes are locking up and all that. It's just, sometimes it's a pain in the butt getting all that adjusted out of them.
Sometimes we'll spend hours just messing with that because it takes it. It's crazy.
Going back to the swaps, that's one reason why I would do an LS platform is just to
yeah.
rip all that bullshit out.
Well, you and I had that conversation,
Yeah.
right? I'm like, take every fucking thing out of that's a JK, strip it down, let's wire everything up manually, old school,
Yep.
and let's make it where it's enjoyable. Do you need an air conditioner? No. Well, then let's simplify. Let's put a Mojave heater. Let's rip the whole fucking dash out, put a flat dash in there, and a Mojave heater. You got 4 positions. One of them's off, and you got low speed, medium speed, high speed.
But now we moved to Satan's taint down here.
Right.
So he's probably going to want AC now.
He might. You never know. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, it's
I'm not going to Cole Miller with Flex Rocks and Rollovers. I'm not going to lie. I get jealous when he's got his just the Freedom panels on and his AC. You know, when you're rock crawling and you're there with Swamp Fast for 24 hours on hell and back, and he's got his AC going. It kind of. I've definitely thought about putting it in my rig.
Oh, everybody laughs at me because they're like, "Do you still have the AC in your Jeep?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it just
don't
needs an
work.
AC condenser from where somebody." I was helping a friend, and he decided he wanted to stand on the gas one years ago, and when he did,
that was Rob Bryan's cousin, wasn't it?
yeah. I didn't bring that up. I wasn't going to, but nonetheless, I was helping him out. He stood on the gas. When he stood on the gas, he flung the rocks back into it. I went to turn the AC on next trip out, and it was all you heard was, and I was like, yep, there it went. Every bit of it just leaked out of the AC condenser, and I said, I'm gonna have to get that fixed. I just haven't wanted to break the grill down far enough. And then I thought about it, and I was like, well, it's got to get painted this winter anyway. I'll just do it then. So
How long ago was that?
2 years ago.
Three,
Four?
four.
Woo.
Condenser's been sitting at the house for, when did you give me that?
Yeah, you've had
Last
that.
I gave you that
year.
last year.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll get to it eventually.
If it means anything to you, I have a working air conditioner in my Jeep,
Yeah.
and I haven't used it for like 10 years. Just voluntarily have not used it.
Well, that and you have a 3.8, so if you cut it on, you literally have, you're down to like 27 horsepower, man. I mean, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially up in the land of you have no compression. You're so high up.
Ryan and I were, I think it's Red Pass. I can't remember it, but it's on the backside going up to Leadville. We're going to do Holy Cross. We're going to camp in Leadville, and I'm taking this pass on the backside, and this thing is just screaming like 8,500 RPMs, just screaming as loud as it could. And I didn't have a muffler at the time, so you can imagine how loud it was.
Oh yeah.
All of a sudden, it just goes into limp mode, and I'm barely reaching this part of the hill. There's a cutout, so I can actually turn off because there's going to be a lot of trucks behind me, And Ryan's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "I have no idea. It was screaming so loud, it probably just quit. Like I don't know." So pull over, turn it off, turn it back on, like nothing ever happened. It's like this is why I hate these, electronics in these vehicles.
yes.
It's because one little thing, it could have been 1 degree too hot for the trans or something, and it just like I don't
Everything's
like, this
I'm
anymore.
done.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Chrysler wiring's the worst. A bad headlight ground. Throw the transmission in limp mode. It won't shift. For just
silly stuff.
Yeah.
My personal truck's a Dodge Ram, right? The air conditioning switch is also attached to the 4-wheel drive.
What?
And oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, explain that. Yeah, the high-low pressure switch is attached to. If you jump it, the transfer case will click. Yeah, and I have non-working 4-wheel drive because I've been through all the wiring, and it's just like unless I replace the wiring harness with the tip 'em or something. I mean, it don't even work. It works on its own. You'll be driving down the road.
Technically have a 2-wheel drive truck.
Oh yeah. You'll be driving down the road.
I do miss the phone calls when Andrew's Friday night picking up tacos and he's stuck in the drive-through parking lot with it stuck in 4-low and it won't come out. I do miss those phone calls though.
Good old Chryslers. Chrysler's great about wiring. They're great about transmissions. That's the two things. Ask me how I know.
So a thing or two about blowing up Dodge transmissions.
God bless America.
The old truck, the new truck, just
The old truck went through a couple.
Yeah.
This one's good. Well, I mean,
this is actually when I got it was fresh rebuilt.
Yeah, this one's been through a couple too.
Exactly.
So we have hopefully fixed that problem now. Paul at Maverick Diesel is a wizard with these things.
I've got it figured out. Just don't go to Windrock. Every time you go to Windrock, you blow the transmission out.
And
time.
I'm stuck there with a freaking truck, a trailer, and a Jeep.
He's calling everybody.
Yeah, Mackie at BMS is like my freaking savior this time. I was like, I got it. He's like, no, I'm coming. If you've met Mackie, he's a big guy. Right?
Yeah.
Like, no, dude, I got it. He's like, I'll be there in the morning. I'll see you there. Click. You're like, okay. Loads his diesel truck up on the back of his other diesel truck with a gooseneck. Brings me a truck to tow my Jeep and my trailer back. Takes my truck all the way back down to Mount Pleasant to a friend of ours who's a diesel tech, and it's like really, really, really good people like that in this industry. Though he's a good guy. So
So that brings up the question: why am I being told all the time to buy a Ford?
Oh, they're great. No, I don't blame you. It's a great truck. Yeah.
I don't. Not a 6.0.
Not a 6.0.
You went and bought the wrong one.
Which
Yeah.
I can't pick on it too
Your
much.
truck actually runs pretty good.
My old truck runs good.
Yeah, I don't have any problems with your truck. Every truck has like a secret sauce, right? The 6.0 is not a bad engine. It just needs a lot of love. It
You just
needs
got
to be-
overnight parts from China, and then 15,000 of Decimate race floors. That's the 6.0 is a great motor, but you got to put $7,000 in it to bulletproof it.
Yep.
Then it's
Right.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of
Yeah.
defeats the purpose of buying the truck.
And
Yep.
the
No, you're
guy I
absolutely
bought
right.
it from, right as I bought it from him, it had 120,000 miles, and he had got some work done down around Fayetteville. And for some reason, the guy told him that he could not warranty the work if he studded the motor.
Interesting.
And I looked at him when he said it, and I kind of turned my head, and I was like, that makes absolutely zero sense. So you know that.
There's nothing I know from my years, and I'm sure Brent, you.
I've heard it multiple times, though.
Yeah. Really?
Yep.
You heard that?
Yep.
Really.
I've never heard that.
And I guess I get it, because they're probably scared that somebody's going to put a hot tune on it and just go to the drag strip and run the teetotal hell out of it.
I don't know anything about hot tunes. So
But the thing about it, though, they're a TTY head bolt,
not at
though.
all.
Torque to yield head bolt in a diesel application just does not work. They stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
A head wants to lift on a diesel always. I don't care what diesel it is. A head wants to lift on a diesel. You start throwing the beans to her. I mean, that's bottom.
Most of them are throwing, 35,
Yep.
40 PSI,
Yep.
constant,
Yep.
pulling these mountain grades,
Yep.
Colorado. I mean, some of the passes, in Colorado, how long are you just wide open in a diesel, trying to get it up? I mean, the amount of pressure, in the cylinders is insane. And I don't get why they don't do it.
Yep. I understand.
I heard there's guys out here, or I think it's North Carolina actually, that are putting in. They're buying a Ford. They're taking out the motor, putting a Cummins.
Fummins.
A Fummins.
Yeah, and they're marrying the transmission from the Ford.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's
It's a great
multiple
transmission.
companies that
There's
sell the company.
Chad Oldman down in Winchester, Manchester area. He's got Oldman Roofing, and him and his wife both, and he's got a Ford with a 5.9 Cummins that he's
Justin
swapping.
Jandrew. I mean, he's got
Jandrew.
one of the nicest ones that.
Multiple.
I mean, but
Well,
he has his
he's got the
pulling
bump
truck.
side. He's got the
One with the aluminum bed. That thing
the
is
450.
Yeah, the 450.
that
The
thing's
450.
freaking
He had
ridiculously
put
nice.
3 6.4s in that truck for the guy.
Yeah.
And the guy finally was just like, I'm done.
He was a hot shot driver, and so he's finally like, dude, no more. And so he's like, I'll buy that truck from you.
And so he bought that truck, and he turned around, he put a
Yeah.
5.9 Cummins
Yep.
in it, and drives the devil out of it.
Yep.
And I bought my new truck. I bought a crew cab Chevy OBS 2000, and that's the plan. That this winter or in the springs, it's going to get a 5.9 with a 5-speed in it.
Yeah, that's a very popular swap, especially in the older body styles. And a
because-
lot of people do that. It's very common.
The styling is just better on the old trucks. I can't stand some of the new trucks. They're just horrid.
Well, especially like the Ram, it has a little dial
Yes.
for the shift.
Transmission,
Yeah.
turn knob.
It's like, okay, that's a little.
The 2020,
Little
I
much.
do
Yeah.
I do like the interior of the 2020s a lot of the new Cummins trucks.
See, I'm like Brent. I'd rather have an OBS all day.
It's
I
one of the
love
few
that.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
That, and I've got a hard time paying $100,000 for a truck
Oh,
now.
well, we're
Yeah,
all poor,
that too.
so
I mean, that's a house
we all
payment.
outright own our vehicles, right? Like, I don't owe anybody anything for my vehicle.
That's
Yeah.
a house payment.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can build shops and houses
Yep.
for a truck payment.
Yep.
For some. So yeah, I'm
Well,
good.
Steven, he got a great deal with
Yeah,
his truck. I
yeah.
mean, you see it from time to time. A good value in a truck, a Ram Tradesman. I don't know if you've seen that truck. It's a
Yeah.
good value. It's it's got less options than most, but it's more reasonably priced. I mean, Steven just drove to Kentucky and
Yeah,
traded
it
his
was
vehicle.
3 or 4 hour drive.
Yeah, but he
traded his Z
40,000 or something for a truck, 41,000, something like that. I mean,
traded his Z71 in with the 5.3 and the LS. Went from a half ton up to a 3/4.
Yep.
Got the Cummins.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they gave him an insanely good trade-in on his truck.
Yeah,
too.
they did.
So I mean, you have those moments where like that was ideal for that guy. He had a gas
Exactly.
burner, and he'd already had like 70,000 miles. He'd been towing on it, with a 1500. And, he owns Gumby now, and it's like, hey, dude, he's like, is this a good idea? I'm like, well, go see what they're talking about. There, could be some crazy hidden dock fee or some silliness. And he's like, he calls me, he's like, oh man, there's $1,500. They're not incentivizing because I don't live in Kentucky. I'm like, okay, and I'm like, well, what are they giving you in your trade? And he's like, he bought the truck for $34,000. And like, they gave me 30 and a half for the truck. And I'm like, what? I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. I was like, what's a dock fee? He's like, I think it was $6.99 or something. I'm like, yeah, dude. Yeah. I think you're there, bro. He's like, I'm like, no, understand, your services, like, people don't understand owning a diesel truck. Like, your services are going to be a lot more, to change the oil is a lot more money.
It's $500 on a Cummins.
Yeah.
Because the fuel filters are like $270 just to buy the filters.
That's like every other oil change with mine. I have to change the fuel filters.
Yeah. You change it less on the newer trucks, but and fuel's a lot cleaner these days, and that's the enemy of our trucks. But it's also the enemy of some of the newer trucks. But it's not. It's just some of them are built to handle it. Like some of the CP pumps, like CP4, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that doesn't like clean fuel. It's built for all this diesel's clean.
No, the CP4 is the new ones.
That's CP3. Which the ones that was on the Chevrolet that was going bad? I thought it was CP4.
Those new CP4s.
Yeah, they were like literally self-destructing inside because there's not enough trashy diesel actually, which is kind of wild. So little stuff you learn. There's like a huge lawsuit about that actually right now.
Wow.
So yeah.
But no, you said something about the values whenever he was going to buy his truck. It's crazy because the day job, I've seen the used car values go up.
Oh, absolutely.
For the last 6 months because of all the deals they're giving for the new stuff, trying to keep the economy running with everything going on. The used values right now are through the roof. It is crazy.
So my buddy buys wrecked vehicles and flips them. So he said a friend of his had bought a wrecked Camry, fixed it, and put it for sale, and he sold it for $9,900. So he gets on the wreck auction the next day. He's going to go buy another Camry, right? Sold pretty quickly. The used wrecked Camry sold for $9,900. He's like, oh my God, what did I do? And it's like, the market, the whole front, even wreck rebuilds and stuff are really through the roof.
It's through the roof.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yep.
But it's affecting all of our total loss values and stuff.
Oh, I can only imagine. Yeah.
So everybody's getting
and buyback
primo dollars right now if they total their car.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Listen to Andrew. Andrew's going,
it's time to hire someone.
How bad do I need a new truck right now?
No payments. I just got a new trans I'm excited about. So, no, I'm good.
You sure? You're positive?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. Nope, my 350,000 mile Dodge is great.
We'll find out the next time we go to Windrock if he still has that sentiment.
Couple of weeks. We'll see if we have to send the recovery party for New Year's.
Right.
God.
So I want to shift gears really quick before we sign off and ask. I know you saw episode 1 of Kingdom Crawl.
I saw it before anybody, pretty much.
Yeah, I gave you a preview,
yeah.
but it was your first time seeing it on Friday, right?
Yeah.
And yours too.
Yeah, we watched it together at the shop.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was good. Loved it. Enjoyed it.
You said loved it.
I loved it.
I did too.
I'm ready for episode 2 because
the
shenanigans should start.
Yeah.
That's we cut right at that.
Right
where
when
everything went to hell in a handbasket. I mean, that's the best way I know how to put it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's funny. You edited some since I watched it last, right? You took some stuff out. You added some stuff. Like it was a little different.
Yeah.
But no, the best thing I can say about your work is that you put a lot of pride into it. You spend a lot of time with it. You kill yourself to make this thing that's entertaining for people. And so not everybody understands, right? They don't. It's like building characters, and like we're all characters in your story, right? Which is funny, and it takes a long time to develop those characters and to build that. But I know your work's great, Gabe. You should be very proud of it. I know that you really are like protective of your work, but it's good work. Your quality of your work is really good. Marvin, even with you, we've talked about like, hey, I want you to help with us some on some of the stuff we're doing, and Marvin's totally on board too, because it's like you genuinely care. I mean, you really do. You're very talented. It's one of your God-given talents, man. You're very very talented.
Agreed.
So
Thank you. Yeah, I think what I want to do the most is to make sure people realize that this show is not about one individual.
No.
And that's what a lot of YouTubers are doing right now is, it's about them so they can get the sponsors and they can get the parts and they can get the views so they can get this and they can get that. But I think that's where we've kind of lost the fun is from that. Is there's too much concentration on individuality.
Yeah.
And there isn't enough on the friendship, the lifestyle, the camaraderie, the you know, the what it takes to get through a tough trail and a break and go on the next day.
Yeah, you see us spotlight with that a lot with Flex Trucks and Rollovers.
Exactly.
Like, it's every man, we're common dudes, you know, just people can relate to and spend time with. And, you know, it's cool because you got your fans and stuff. People come up and they're like, man, like I saw you on this episode, you know, and it's like, you know, you smile about that because you're like, you inspired someone else, right? Like but like Flex Trucks and Rollovers is not about me or Brent or Mark or you, and same with what you're doing. It's not about us. Like, we're just people in the story that are relatable, right? I mean, we're just dudes. You know, I'm really blessed to work in a crazy cool industry, and you know, people are like, you know, my cousin last night was like, man, you got the coolest job. I'm like, I do. I have a lot of fun. We're in this cool off-road shop with some of my best friends, and we get to travel the country and do stuff. And then, like, you know, I just got back from Baja. You know, BF Goodrich was awesome. You know, they sent us to Baja to help, and you work your ass off, but it's like you about kill yourself. But, you know, it's fun, and that's what all this is about, is having fun and being with some of the people you actually give a shit
and
about.
that's why when Marvin asked me to help film for that project, I jumped on it because because I mean, first of all, I know what he's about, and it's about having fun, and I wanted to be a part of that and have fun with you guys, especially since I've only been here for a month and a half.
Your footage showed though, like immediately, like he was like, Gabe's footage was my favorite, and I was like, we looked through it, and I'm like, I was like, you know what we're trying to do. You actually, we're all aligned, you know, like, so I like you and Adam and Ryan, like, I love what you guys do because we're all brothers, man. We're all in a alliance. Like, we understand, like, we have this goal and this is what we're trying to achieve, and we're hitting those goals. It's cool.
Yeah.
I was actually bragging on and telling somebody yesterday about Kingdom Crawl because we pulled up, Wes and a bunch of them were leaving, and Brent's Jeep was behind mine. We're sitting down there at Wheeling Country. I didn't think nothing about it, you know. We're down there all the time. I've wheeled the park for 20 years. That's where I learned to drive. And all of a sudden, this lady comes up, and she's got her bibs and her beanie on, and she's got this little boy with her, and she said, he wanted to come over here and meet you. And I was like, okay. Why? And she goes, he's seen y'all's Jeeps on YouTube on Flex Rocks and Rollovers, and he wanted to come see you, and he wouldn't come over here by himself, so he told me that Mama had to come talk to you first. And I was like, well, hey dude, what's up? You know, I talked to him for a few minutes, and I said, there's another one coming out too. I was like, get on there and find Kingdom Crawl and watch that. I was like, he'll probably like that one too. And
I've put so many kids in the driver's seat of my Jeep for pictures. They come up, you know, hey, you know, they just absolutely love everything that the Jeep's been in, you know, Kingdom Crawl and Flex Rocks and Rollovers, and just being out, just being in the public, you know, and you know, it makes my day to see, you know, a young kid, you know, just love something that much, you know, and you can put them up in the seat, and you know, they get the photo, you know, and you guarantee it's printed off, you know. It's on them falling in love with the sport. It's on the back door.
We were there.
Bedroom.
We grew up doing this. And, you know, I had my moment like that a couple years ago in Texas. You know, Bob Chandler was there, like Bigfoot. Like, that was what I grew up with my cousin doing, and he took me to these. You know, he would come get me. You know, drive 2 hours one way, and you know, take me 2 hours somewhere to go let me watch. You know, Bigfoot, and it's like, man, it's like, you know, Bob Chandler, one of the nicest and most personable people you've ever met. And dude talked to me for like 2 hours. I was like, holy crap, this is so cool. And you know, you don't expect that. That's, you know, that's like, you know, you almost forgot that person was your hero, and not in a negative connotation, but like in a positive one, right? Like, you're like, wow, like this guy inspired me to do what I do every day, you know, and he shaped who I am in a lot of ways, which is cool. And it's like something so simple, you know. Monster truck today is not like it was when I was growing up and when Brent was growing up. I mean, it's very different. And you know, you had tractor pulls and stadium trucks and stuff, and it's like, it's cool. You get to meet these people, and you know, especially in the industry.
Going to Chapel Hill for the line super truck pull of the South.
Exactly, Mark. Bingo. That's right. But it was a big deal.
I mean, I don't know exactly. Yeah, that's one of those things that everybody looks forward to and around Middle Tennessee, and they will come from all over. And you go to Chapel Hill for a night, and they have the line super truck pull of the South.
It's the highest payout tractor pull.
Yeah,
around.
Yeah.
Just stupid
And
crazy.
It's always
truck
been
builds.
that way. It's always been
Yeah.
that way. So you'll get to experience that firsthand too
Oh
this year.
Lord.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I want to experience. Even like, I've never been to a farmer's market.
Oh,
like
man, it's
stuff
amazing.
like
That's great.
just stuff like
Amazing.
that.
Yep.
I mean, I know it sounds stupid, or
But still,
No,
I mean,
it's not. It's like
it's awesome.
those things. Like, hey, it's part of our culture here, right? Like, it's a big part of that, and it used to be a lot larger part that. But even today, it's great.
But it's coming back a lot more.
Very much so.
A lot more.
New age farmers,
Yeah.
and you have a lot of people that really care. Like, around down where Mark's from,
Yeah.
Franklin area. Like, there's market. You can go buy fresh milk. That's
Oh, even down there, where he's at, it's Mennonite and Amish territory.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean,
You get a- you get a
every
hell of a
corner,
fence built.
there's, but even at
barn.
that, every corner's got, like the gas station we go to going to Wheeling, there's always an Amish cart. So whatever's fresh in their fields is always out there.
Yeah,
Yep.
they'll have jellies, or some of them make candles, some of them do jellies and jams, some of them
Yep.
will do vegetables, but they'll always stay there because it's a main highway. So you're going south to Lawrenceburg or you're going west to Hornwald, and everybody stops at that gas station. It's the busiest gas station.
So I was talking to Loxley about jams because my favorite jam is not Knott's Berry Farm jam.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys ever heard of it.
No.
It's an amusement park in Southern California.
Okay.
And originally it was a berry farm. And this owner, the legend goes, the owner was running out of money and needed to sell off some land. And he sold off part of his land to this company, and they made this amusement park. Part of the deal was they kept the name of the berry farm. So it became Knott's Berry Farm Amusement Park. They had a restaurant, and they sold jelly, jams, and all that. So anyways, that's my favorite. So I asked Loxley, do they have that out here? And she's like, dude, if you haven't been to just like a side of the road, someone selling a jam or jelly, you haven't had real
Oh yeah.
jam yet.
Hey, wait till
Or honey, even honey around here.
Gatlinburg, East Tennessee.
Yeah.
I mean, they live off that stuff. It's crazy.
Gatlinburg, apple butter.
You haven't had apple butter before, have you?
Oh
No.
God, Jesus
My
bless.
God, your mind is going to be blown.
Apple butter. It sounds interesting.
It's dude, it's so good.
It's so
good.
Is it the same stuff that they have on that bread that they get at the Texas Roadhouse?
No, it's cinnamon
No,
butter.
that's cinnamon
cinnamon
butter.
butter.
Oh.
No, it's different.
This is like
This
a
is like a jam and a
jam,
butter
jelly,
mix.
butter mix. Yeah, dude, it's great.
Yes. Yep. Prepare to be mind blown. Local honeys are huge here, which is another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cloverfields, bees, good stuff.
All right. Well, now I'm getting hungry, and our
Right.
wives are waiting for us.
Yeah, all the wives are drinking margaritas and
Yeah.
waiting on us at this
Yeah.
point.
So who knows how many?
Before you
they've
cut
had
off,
already.
give me 5 things you want to do, because I want to know. Personally.
Yeah.
When I'm out,
Tennessee, Southern things.
Yeah,
Oh,
in
yeah.
the southeast
Area.
since you're here.
Yeah.
Gatlinburg for sure.
Okay.
That's a given.
I wanted to attend the Smoky Mountain
Jeep Invasion.
Jeep Invasion.
Okay. It's awesome.
I know it's not in Tennessee, but Sheriff's Jeep Fest.
Yep.
Yep.
It's
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 of
not
in
that far.
Tennessee.
It's okay. I've been. It's okay.
Oh, you're talking about overall the event.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna be disappointed, but
I want to just go shoot the guns.
It's cool. That's fun, actually. That's
Yeah.
one of the fun things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I want to go back to ALP because I only went and filmed there. I didn't wheel it.
Didn't
Yeah.
you go for like Crawl America though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you haven't seen AOP.
No, you ain't
That's the
seen
other
AOP,
reason why.
dude. No.
the
We'll
other
show you
reason
the
why.
beat now. All right. Yeah.
No.
You've seen
No,
the Little Caesars.
we're not doing Little Caesars. No.
Well, we can't. I don't even think any of us can do Little Caesars anymore.
That's what I've heard, too.
It's
It's
rock
got so
mountain.
Hey, all you gotta do is hit the rock a couple more times at the break and get right up.
No, you ain't breaking no rock this time, Bubba.
That was where the story came from.
What did I get? I got Steven Reeder right up that thing.
Well, Reader went right up the whole
Hey,
thing.
we got to figure out why that.
Yeah. And the reason Reader did that is because the TBI has about as much horsepower as 3 gerbils, and he's greener than green. So when you just stand on it and however it lands, I mean, you generally get up stuff.
Pulling all 4 tires
Yeah.
off the ground. Just
Same beat down Scott took. I told Scott, keep hitting it, keep hitting it. He got up it. He did it.
Reader didn't even really beat on it though,
I mean,
man.
I got up
Reeder
there.
just that Jeep just works. man.
He
It's
backed
amazing.
up and
It
Andrew
just-
goes, "That's it, go!" And Reader goes, "What?"
I wish you never would have
was
sold
up.
that rig.
So it's going to be a pain in the ass because learning to wheel again, because I haven't been I haven't wheeled a rig in 2 years. So it's going to be like a whole different Jeep. I'm going to have to
Seat
learn
time.
how to
time.
wheel with tons, first of
Yeah.
all, and then just get
Wheeling down here.
Yeah.
You'll learn why when it rains like Thursday, and I'm like, nope, I'm not going. And you're like, why? It's gonna be beautiful Saturday. I'm like, nope, I'm not going.
Everybody's like, oh, we're going. You're like,
That's like yesterday when we got down to Wayland and we're like pulling into the parking lot, and Brent looks over at me and goes, "Did it rain down here yesterday?" And I go, "Didn't rain in my house." Parking lot's like got a little bit of water standing in it.
Martin was 10 minutes away.
Yeah, 10 minutes away. So you can gauge if it hasn't rained at my house. It hasn't rained at Wheeling for the most part. Well, we're sitting there, and sure enough, Brent goes and talks to a guy at Cherokee.
Yeah, top Cherokee. After the beat down, something that's pretty simple to get up, and rigs are just beating it down to get up.
And he gets up there and he goes, "Hey, dude said it rained 2 hours last night." And I go,
poured for 2 hours. But you'll learn. There's a couple parks around here you do not go if it rained a couple days before.
AOP is one of them.
Hog Pride is the next one.
Oh my God, the peanut butter mud it sticks to your tires and don't come out.
And then it's in pine needles. So you're in 6-inch deep, just Alabama clay,
peanut butter mud
in pine needles, and it will stain everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you can't get it off.
I had to polish my wheels because of Hog Pride. The machetes that I had before the grenades.
Yeah.
I let it sit just a tad too long, and after I washed it, I had brown spots all the way around the wheels.
If you look at my Jeep, he buffed it all out, but it'll stain your paint. You'll see the spots from it being on there. And I washed my rig within a day. That day when I get home, or within a couple days, and it stained the clear coat.
Yeah.
You can see all the spots where the
I had to go back through it and wet sand it and rebuff it.
Really?
Yeah.
That bad?
Yeah,
Dude, it's bad.
It's gnarly down
It's
there.
a badass park, though.
Oh, yeah,
it's one of
killer
my
park.
favorites, actually.
I love going down there.
Yeah.
But
You do not go when it's wet.
Dry.
Yep. Windrock you can get in trouble too.
Yeah.
If it's rain. You can get in serious trouble.
Yeah, but Windrock, you can adjust your trails. Like AOP, when it's wet, you can't get up Trail 1. Trail 1's the main access road.
Yeah.
And you'll be at the bottom doing Rob Ryan 4,000 grand neutral bombs, trying to get up, this little embankment. It's not like you're going up rocks. It's just slick clay.
Yeah. God, the first crawling for Reed event I went to, it poured.
Oh,
God, it poured. And the park was still new. So you get up there and it was like people are coming down the hill and they're sliding as they're coming down the hill.
Yep.
Because it was so thick. And everybody's tires were just coated. I was going through the parking lot on a full turn and I was just going straight. I was like,
you can't spin the tires fast enough to clean them out down.
No, I don't care. We've had all the tires, right? Like, name a tire we haven't had that's a quality of tire. No, it don't matter. It's
yeah, well, I'm not looking forward to the rain then.
No.
Yeah.
That's why we're kind of divas about that. I'm old, man.
Yeah, everyone gives me crap. You're not going? I'm like, nope, not going.
Yep.
I mean, I don't like mud to begin with.
But the beat down, because you're used to traction. We wheeled Colorado. The granite up in Colorado is just traction.
Yeah.
And the rock down here kind of has traction.
Some of
but
it does,
but
yeah.
but a lot of it's been polished. So then you get through the clay and water dripping off. Then you get on the rock.
Yeah.
And now you can't go nowhere. You can't get up a single thing. So if you're not the first person, and like we put Mark when he was running the PBRs in the back because we're not going to let him trash the obstacle before we get up. And so we'll trash it because we're going to have to winch him anyways.
I mean, that's the truth. They weren't wrong.
You have quality tires now. We don't
does.
ever
Yes,
have
thank
that
you,
word.
God.
Yeah, and thank you, BF Goodrich.
Yes, thank you, BF Goodrich. We actually tested that last night. He was letting Shelby drive, and we were just kind of hanging out, and we got over at the ledge, and he goes, "Well, are you going to go up it?" And I go, "I don't know." So I have my nephew in there with me, and we start playing on it. And Aaron goes, I roll back, and Aaron looked over at me and goes, "You've had it 3 times. Just go up the damn hill."
Crawled it.
Yeah.
And it was like, click, 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 click.
Wait
And
till they break in more. You're going to lose your mind.
Well, I was working on breaking them in last night a little bit.
Good. So,
Oh, it was fun.
I know we've probably taken you over.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. There's
Southern
no
people, we just
time
talk.
limit or anything like that. It's
We do just talk,
my only
God,
concern
we could do
is
this for hours then.
my only concern is our bar tab is going up by the minute as our wives are drinking margaritas.
Well,
whoever
I can
knows-
guarantee
knows-
my wife is probably not drinking.
All I got to say is sucks for y'all because my bar tab is nothing because my wife ain't drinking with y'all.
That's the truth.
Ooh.
For another day.
Okay, so welcome to Mexican.
All right, folks. Well, you guys, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us. We
Yeah,
really
yeah,
appreciate
appreciate
you
it,
as
sir.
always. And, we love you to death, man. You're awesome. really approve of what you're doing. And,
Yeah,
thanks.
Well,
It's great having you in Tennessee.
Yeah, it is.
I love being here. Thanks
Now
for
we need to
having me.
get
Yes, sir.
Ryan and Adam here. I know it's not going to happen, but we
Yeah.
need them both here. And, it'd be perfect.
I don't know. I got some friends that work at a beer company. I can probably help Adam get on.
There you go.
No, dude.
You hear that, Adam?
He makes those bottles, boy. It makes him dollars.
Hey,
You hear that, Adam?
I've got friends that have bottling companies too. We can figure something out.
Yeah.
We're
Then
not,
Ryan.
we're not that far from Jack Daniels.
That's true.
Nope.
And I have a
Right.
buddy who I don't know if he's still there.
Jim Beam, right up the road.
Jim Beam, yeah.
I mean, they're all within an hour here.
Well, I mean, you think about it. We've got 3 wineries down there close to
Yep.
Mount Pleasant, within a 5-mile radius of each other. I'm sure they could. Yeah,
Breweries, everything.
yeah.
Ryan, he can fly anywhere. Why is he even bitching? He needs to just move here.
And that's more of a family thing.
Oh, I know. I'm just giving him a hard
yeah.
time. I love Ryan to death.
Yeah.
So I got to give him a hard time.
Of course.
I mean, they're not here, so they can't talk back to us right now, right?
No,
it's not like how it was in episode 1 where you talking shit and he's like somewhere the fuck else.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's his own fault for being late, like always.
Oh, dude, I hated that. Sucked
Dude,
so
that
bad.
day was so
And then
bad.
I rolled up. It was like, you just walked all that shit. And I'm like, man, I don't know. It didn't. It was just like my day, right? Like, you have your good days and you have your bad ones.
Yeah, all of a sudden I heard something coming up the trail and I forgot who it was and like, there goes Andrew. And I'm like, where? I hear something. That's Andrew. I'm like, how do you know? That's Andrew. Sure enough.
Motor.
Sure enough. That was you.
I think it was me because
Probably was you.
I think I walked down the hill to talk to you there, and I was like, I heard the motor in the coming up. You were probably about to rattle rock the entrance, and I heard you coming around, and I was like, yep, there he comes. I was like, about time to get here. Jeez. So yeah, because we sat around and waited, and we were finally like, okay, we got to go.
We bullshitted for a while too.
Yeah,
Oh, wait, what? I
you
picked
had to
up
go
something.
get bolts for something.
because your wheels, you were missing beadlock wheels.
That's
The
what it
bolts,
was.
that's
And
right.
they didn't open for a certain amount of time
Yeah.
a day or some
because
shit like that.
Adam was trying to help you mount them, and he sucked it up so bad, so you missed fast enough. Couldn't get there.
Adam knows that he's gonna get a whole bunch of shit from that.
because
Adam,
doing
the
that
beadlog
time-
master.
doing that wheel drop over the head method was just it was impressive. So
It's always
impressive.
fun. We have so many stories, and it's just, it could go on forever.
That's like I said, we could sit here for hours and do this.
and that's what our shop turns into. After
Yeah.
we get done work, and just the friends coming down. I mean, you guys have been at the shop a couple different
Yeah.
times, and just you never know who's going to show up.
That's
I mean,
true.
the Dingers are generally there, Scott and Christy, and
Yep. We're there.
it
Lance will-
just a good time. But what you see on on the videos, Kingdom Crawl and all that, all the
banter.
the banner. That's really us. It's not
that's
not
it.
on TV or that. That's just how we are. And a lot of people
Constantly.
probably think about me and they're like, man, he's a dick. Yeah, I probably am, but I'm.
Well, that's
Yeah, that just-
Joey and Lindsay Van when they met him. Like Joey come over to me and he goes, "Bro, what's this guy's deal?" And I'm like,
Give him a twisted tea.
"What do you mean?" No, he was already drinking Twisted Teas.
Yeah.
and he was just
I already had that covered.
He was just being Brent, and he was like, "I just don't know what to think about him." I was like, "Well, he's okay, dude. Trust me." He goes, "Okay." So after a while, he come back over and he goes, "All right, he's not so bad." He goes, "He's just loud," and I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "He came off as an asshole at first, didn't he?" He goes, "Yeah, he did." He goes, "I didn't know if I was going to like him or not."
God, that's
And so I just started laughing. I was like, dude, he's okay. He's good people."
I've gotten messages before about Diesel about that. Is Diesel really like that in real life?
Yeah, I tell
100%.
everybody that. I'm like, that is
100%.
Diesel.
Yeah,
Before your wedding,
yeah,
and we're doing the big blue Jeep.
yeah.
And next thing I know, Andrew looks at me and he's like, "Hey, my buddy's coming through to come see me." And I'm like, "Where's he driving from, bro?" He's like, "Oh, he's headed back to North Carolina." And Diesel comes like...
He wanted to see me. That was his
He
goal.
comes
One day.
like way out of the way from any interstate.
Like an hour at least. I mean, total drive time
No,
out of the way. Maybe
probably more than
hour
that.
and a half,
It was
yeah.
probably every bit of a 3-hour loop
Yep.
that he was making
Yeah.
to come down and see him.
Just want to give me a hug and say hi. It's just
we
a
were
genuine
out at
dude.
we were out at Aaron and Tiffany's old house, which
Yeah.
was out
Yep.
way out past my house.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
so we got out there, and all of a sudden, all I see is a disco ball coming down the road, and I was like, "Andrew, there's a JKU with a disco ball. He's like, yeah, there's Diesel.
Speaking of Diesel, I remember meeting Diesel. We're in Moab for EJS, and Andrew's like, my buddy's coming over. We're going to go wheel. We're going to go night wheeling. And here comes this white JK in on 2 wheels, disco ball going, red rock lights, radio jamming, and this guy gets out. It's just Diesel. But I'm like, man, this guy ain't right. You know, he got going screws loose. And I love Diesel to death. I mean, great friend and that, but that's who he is.
That's it.
You know, you see him on the
100%.
on the TV and all that, but you know, out when the cameras aren't running, that's just who he is.
The first time I ever met Diesel was we had a JK on tons ride, and like all these people came, Jeff Yerk, Ian, you know, a whole group of people, Caleb, Tommy Ford, you know, and all these people are there. And so pull up to AOP and there's a camper over here, you know, and this dude walks over and I'm like, damn, I think this motherfucker's drunk. It's like early in the morning, and he's like, yo, what's up? I'm like, what's up, dude? He's like, you want beer? I'm like, I don't drink, man. I was like, I'm going to hang out though. He's like, all right. You know, I didn't know the walk thing at first, right? I just literally thought the dude was drunk. I'm like, hell yeah, you know, he's the most genuine, nicest dude in the world. Brought us over his camper, and you know, that was the day I met Diesel, and it was like, that's God, years ago now. But you know, that's my brother, man. He's good people.
Yeah.
He is legitimately
100%.
just good people. Would do anything for you. Fixed my Jeep in Moab that year. Remember, he came over and.
He's a GM tech, like 15-year GM tech, and we had just gotten done after a 2-month complete build. Loaded, he finished it at 4 a.m. I loaded it, and we left to go to EJS. It won't start, it won't do nothing, and you know, and they're out there all night trying to figure it out, and it had a high idle issue, and he goes, I know exactly what it is. Popped the hood and it was fixed.
Like 3 seconds. He's like, I just flipped that plug in. I'm like, no, dude, that plug we pulled out and put it back in multiple times. He's like, well, that's what I'm going to call as my story. I'm like, fucking Diesel, man. I'm like, really, bro? But it ran like a top. No, just a genuinely good dude. Love that guy.
Yeah.
Give you the shirt off his back.
Yep, really.
I don't get to hang out with him like these guys do. I've met him one time, and I was like, he's good people. I like him.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, once you get to spend the night with him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it gets
Spend a week with him in Colorado, and you get the potato stories and the little chocolate starfish staring at you. He's doing a
South
dance.
Dakota with him.
the rotten kiwis.
Yeah, the rotten kiwis.
All right.
On that note, we're gonna wrap up, and we're gonna go get some Mexican food.
Right. Let's go eat.
Yeah. So until next time, this is CrawlCast East. Hold on.
When the East is in the house.
Oh my god.
When the East is in the house.
Oh my god.
All right, that's it.
Hey, I got one more. Can we have one more?
One more what?
I need to hear the right thing.
Oh, my fucking dog is going crazy.
No. I need to hear the right thing. Where is it?
When the East is in the house.
No, the other one.
Oh,
Hey, Matt.
Loxley. Matt Loxley.
What's
What's
up,
going on,
bro?
They fucking suck.
Do you have anything about him being fat or anything?
no, but I can get it next time.
Okay, all right. I'm coming back for that one.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
All right, have a good one.